Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man, who always thinks he can. All right. Oh, yeah, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, part of Pitts and Sarah's wrestling show, where we take no nights off. All right. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the Yard of Streams, taking no nights off here with the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hello there, sunshine.
Hello.
How we doing?
We're good. Tired, but good.
Retired.
Yeah.
Keeping you up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I wrote, I think I got 147 articles up in August.
That's a lot.
I wrote 150, but 3 of them didn't go up until September 1st. And I think I'm like at half that already. I'm at 70, 75 or something right now. So it's a lot. There's a lot, you know?
I know what you mean, because you're covering the Patriots and I'm covering them being the general manager over in the 2K. And Sarah, all right, I don't have a lot of places to vent about this type of shit. So guess what, peeps? Buckle up, you're it. I need to vent about my GM process going on in 2K. Okay, because it's awesome. I'm gonna flat out say it's great. I think it's been a huge addition or upgrade. I mean, from last year's edition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but here's my thing. All right, Sarah. The power cards that are played by other GMs. I have been working on storylines for weeks, building them up, putting them in just singles matches, because I'm not just going to have 2 random people be in a TLC match on a free TV.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have that shit on PLEs. Okay. Teddy Long is my mortal enemy right now. Paul Heyman just did Paul Heyman things. They made it so I cannot book my champions, 2 of my champions, on the next show, which is the PLE. So, and 2 of those guys being my tag team champions, Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio.
I hate that.
Yeah, but when at least some formation of Judgment Day is thrown in front of you, you have to at least buy it and assemble it, you know? So we went with that route, and Roman Reigns being my champion can't have his match at the pay-per-view. So like really it seems like Carmelo versus Trick Williams is our main event. Like we're getting bad. So if you have any tips,
it's a struggle.
Yeah, if you have any tips, peeps, okay, about anything that has to do with my GM mode, 2K, or the bad gal, because you're in your brutality era. I'm just letting you just kick ass. All right. I don't think you need a manager for what you're doing, right? It's like I'll go manage a brand. I think that's fine. So we'll get back to the bad gal. A lot of moving parts here. But that's enough from me before we talk about the premier WWE programming show. We got to hear from the peeps. Nathaniel, David, what's up? Bernard, how you doing? Would you like Roman and Jacob for 2 WrestleMania? Not right now. I would not. No.
No, I think there's bigger stories on the table.
Way bigger stories. Bernard does not want to see Sammy versus Gunther again. I have no thought. I do.
I have thoughts, but maybe I'll wait until we talk about it.
Yeah, it's bad. Sarah, you can wait. It's fine. Who's turning Kofi Kofi or Xavier. Not gonna lie. We're gonna talk about it. All right. And then Unhinged main event Fro. Good to
What
see you,
up?
pal. Great to see you in the chat.
Sorry for the yawn. Ooh, it's just catching up.
No, that's just you. It's football season. We get it. You're on the field. You're in the squared circle. You're in a lot of places, Sarah. All right. So enough of my royal rambling here. Let's just like hop right into Raw and talk about what the hell happened.
All right. So we continued with those, interesting camera angles that Triple H is going with, where we see Punk pull up kind of fast, get out of the car, does not close the door, does not take the keys, just leaves it there.
Wrestling, Sarah, it's awesome.
A parking garage, just leaving a car available.
Hey, anybody will get it.
Whatever. And he comes in and gives a very somber promo to which, he just talks about how he has less years ahead of him than he has in wrestling, but he doesn't plan on leaving anytime soon. His family doesn't want him to have this match with Drew McIntyre at Bad Blood, but he's going to do it because he has to fight for his family, blah, 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 blah. So that was just the gist of really what he was saying. And it was just a very different style of promo that Punk has traditionally given us over the years. And while I think it fit the vibe, obviously, because the last time that we saw Punk, he was bleeding from the mouth on a stretcher, courtesy of Drew McIntyre. CM Punk doing work, boy. And so it fits the vibe. I think I was just, we kind of talked about this before we went live, where people were claiming it was like one of Punk's best promos ever. And I think I don't really agree. I feel like it fit what needed to be said or how he should have conducted himself given the circumstances that he's in. I think if he went out there and did a typical CM Punk promo, it just wouldn't have fit because, we hadn't seen him in 2 weeks, and the violence that Drew has taken upon himself to take out on Punk, he's not going to come out there and say the normal stuff. But I think I was a little thrown off about people giving this almost as much praise and putting it in the same category as the pipe bomb. That was a little shocking to me.
Yeah, to me, I texted you meh because you kind of spoiled it for me in a way.
Sorry, I thought you were watching it at the same time.
Yeah, no. It's not your fault. Of course you think I'm watching it because I should have been, but we were backtrack doing things. So I went in with a different mindset. So when I was watching, I'm like, okay, he's not saying anything that I haven't heard a version of CM Punk say before. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't anything new
okay,
or
buckle up.
Yeah, it wasn't
with
unexpected.
So because I'm like, okay, and then I'm seeing fucking Busted Open talking about it, Bully, a bunch of other people are like, that was unbelievable in what you're saying. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll watch it again. I did, and I thought it was very good. I thought it was great. That's not one of the greatest of all time. It's nothing like your arms are just too short to box with God. It's not his, which felt like a shoot back and forth with Triple H when they did have that mini feud. I thought that was a very underrated Punk on the mic in WWE. It just didn't feel like that. It just felt like it was the best promo we've seen Punk cut in this feud, which if you've been watching along at home, should be the case all along because it's at the tipping point.
Yeah.
So, I didn't see it be the greatest of all time.
I think the only thing that I could think about why anyone would be saying that is because it is such a different moment for Punk. When we're thinking about some of his most memorable moments on the mic, you don't really think about any promo like this that had this type of feeling to it. And so I don't know if that's kind of what's getting people excited, is because it's like, okay, well, we're used to the pipe bomb and we're used to him being loud or making it feel like, okay, wait, is he really mad? Does he really hate this guy? I mean,
It's really
even
blurring the lines.
yeah, even from his most recent history in AEW, he was doing a lot of that kind of stuff too. So it's like, yeah, that's what people learn to grow, like, love from CM Punk over the years. And this one was so drastically different. It feels like, okay, yeah, that's why you're saying it. Because I feel like I don't think that anyone's really going to sit back and be like, oh, remember that promo Punk gave 2 weeks before Bad Blood? Like, I don't think anyone's going to be sitting there and thinking about it in a few years the way that they do about the pipe bomb. Like, all you have to do is post a picture of Punk in that Stone Cold shirt. All Drew has to do is sit in the middle of the ring cross-legged. You know what I mean? And it's like you immediately think about that. This one was good. It fit. It needed, like, if, like I said, if he didn't come out and behave that way, then it would be like we would be talking about it in the complete opposite way and being like, this wasn't the vibe. This wasn't the way he should have addressed the situation. So I think that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, credit to him for pulling it off. It was a babyface promo. It was what he needed to say. It made you excited for the match if you weren't already, I guess. But yeah, I think that people need to slow the roll about comparing it to some of the best work he's ever done, because I think that's a bit much, But yeah, Richard brings up a fair point, which we kind of discussed before we went live as well, that Richard's been saying this the whole time, so I don't think, the promo from Punk last night, I don't think changed his mind at all. Kind of changed mine, because we've talked about it so many times that we feel like Drew needs to win this match. Drew needs to win the feud in the long term. And it feels like this is the end. Whatever happens at Bad Blood, this is the end. And maybe they'll revisit it the way that they have with other long standing feuds in the past, in a year or whatever. But this made me feel like, based off of what Punk was doing, what he was saying, how he was acting, it made me feel like, okay, they just gave it away. Punk is winning this match, because it's like, when you really look at these two and the stipulation, there is no way in hell that Punk would ever beat Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match. So I don't know. I just got the vibe and I'm like, I think Punk might be winning.
No, I don't see it yet. I haven't had that moment yet, so we're gonna sit in ignorance. We're gonna sit in. I like sitting in ignorance.
Well, yeah, because we were talking about, like, if he wins, then it's like, where do they go from here? We know that Punk is probably going to move on and maybe have his eyes on Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, but that leaves Drew in the middle of nowhere land, and that doesn't seem to benefit him when I would consider him to be more in a space where he needs to have these feuds, and Punk doesn't, because Punk is CM Punk. Like, there's a reason why Drew left and had to go and do all of that work in order for WWE to beg him to come back, So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. I think it might be Punk, but I really hope it's not the truth, but we'll see. Then we move on to Pete Dunne versus Sheamus, which I think it was kind of a shocking ending, because there was a lot of people that were like, Sheamus needs to win, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what happened. We saw Pete Dunne. He hit a brogue kick and won after there was a little bit of, shillelagh involvement and whatever. But do you think it was the right move?
Yes. You need to have Mr. Dunne win these types of matches by any means necessary. And with the hurling stick, I think it was, that he hit him with.
Yeah, because there was a shillelagh, but then there was other
the shillelagh was awesome because callback, but then he hit him with a goddamn hurling stick. Mm-hmm. And like I popped. I thought it was clever. It's it's a good way to portray him right now as a dude, like a heel or whatever, because he just gets the job done. All right. It's it's legitimizing him because he's winning. He's going over, but he's doing it in a very, sneaky Eddie Guerrero type way. You know what I mean? So it's good right now, and it's only going to be better if it actually leads to something in the future. Like if he ends up being Braun Breaker's eventual challenger, not next one, but eventual challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. Like, yeah, he can do that type of stuff, but he can also go back to the bruiserweight and former NXT UK champion type of style. So it's just an easy way to introduce the fan like you and I who were familiar, or even the fan lesser than us who doesn't really know that much. An easy way to ease them into who is Pete Dunne at the end of the day.
Well, and it's clearly working. I mean, whatever they're doing is working because it's definitely getting Sheamus a lot more support.
Yeah.
And they were also the crowd was chanting Butch. So
Yeah, I did hear that. That was awesome. That was
yeah, I mean, Sheamus was setting it up like he was trying to let them know, like, I want
come
you to
on.
chant this.
Come on.
But I mean, that's working because if people did not care or they weren't invested in what was going on, they wouldn't bother to do any sort of chant like that.
No,
You know
they're
what I
gonna
mean?
sit
So
silent. They're gonna sit in
yeah,
silence.
yeah. So I think this is interesting and I think it could be really good. And like I said, I still like when this whole thing started, I think it's really cool to see Sheamus wanting to do this because he obviously believes in Pete Dunne and wants to help establish him as like a bigger talent on Raw. So I'm intrigued to see like where this ends up because obviously this isn't over. It's not going to just be over from a match on Raw. So there's plenty of story to still get into here, and I kind of would want to see a battle of the words between them because we haven't really seen that. It's more so been Pete talking about what his issues were on NXT or whatever in some sort of like after the show segment, or Sheamus talking about it before he goes to the ring, but we haven't really seen any face-to-face confrontation with them, and I think that would kind of add a little bit of intrigue to what's going on.
Agreed. I would like to see them maybe have an exchange of words. You do not have to have this be in your face every week, but it should linger. It should linger for quite some time. You know, there should still be some bad blood, yes, pun intended, when it comes to these two, maybe even until the Rumble. Like, why not? What's the harm in it?
Yeah.
You want me to get to comments?
Oh, yeah, we can look. I was just trying to see if there was any interesting ones quickly, but you can go ahead.
Well, no, I disagree. I don't think all rivals of him should call him. I think just any dickhead type of jerk, whatever, should always throw that. That's just a ninja.
Yeah. I think that it should be used by Sheamus a lot because it is basically the foundation of the beef that Pete has with him. But I think, I think it's something that maybe should be brought out by future rivals at a point, not like from the beginning. It'll be like if you're really trying to piss Pete off, then you kind of throw it out there.
Dickie does bring this up that Sheamus re-signed today, multi-year extension. Initial thoughts? We happy? We happy to see Sheamus around for quite some time now?
Yeah, I mean, I am entertained by Sheamus. You know, I mean, he is a part of one of my favorite matches in recent memory from WrestleMania with Gunther and Drew. And I think that he always puts on really good matches. I'm a little bit partial because he's not American. So that's kind of why. But
why I love him.
So I think he's kind of become a staple in WWE. Like he's not a guy that is on top, but he's not a guy that you don't consider a main eventer. And if he's in the mid card, you're not mad about it. You know what I mean? So like, I think he's a solid guy to keep around, and it is weird when he's not there because I do think he like elevates, especially the mid card division and stuff like that. Like, and he's good on the mic. He's a good guy for people to cheer for. But he's easy to hate too. So
he's a great face to have in your company on both sides.
Yeah,
I think is speaks volume to him. Let me look for more comments here. No, I will say we will mention this, but
yeah,
just you wait. Just you wait Just you wait a second, Dickie. I don't
I wouldn't be
particularly. Ah, no.
Mania. That means that he would be holding the title for like what 9 months. I think
I
that's
don't
a,
want him to defeat Braun. That's the only issue I have with the sentence.
who better to beat Braun though at Mania.
I don't know, because if you give Braun a run like
That would be like 9-10 months of him being champion though.
that's what I'm saying. That's a long time, right? That's like,
But who better to beat him than Sheamus, who has never won the Intercontinental title?
I would like Sheamus to, like, I would like to see like Sheamus beat a Sami Zayn or something.
Sami Zayn is not going to become Intercontinental champion again. That's not happening.
I said like a Sami Zayn.
I know, but I still think that's kind of cool because that's a huge moment for Braun for his first WrestleMania.
Oh, hear me out. Hear me out, Sarah.
He cannot hang with Braun Breaker right now. Stop it. And I love
No. Nathaniel, I don't agree with this, but you did spark someone that I think Sheamus could beat for it in like a perfect world. Okay. So John Cena is obviously doing the farewell tour. You have John Cena win the Intercontinental title, and then have Sheamus
beat John
Cena. Not at WrestleMania though.
Oh, see, like I don't hate the idea of Sheamus having that at Mania.
I need John Cena to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania this year.
I need
it. Like,
I don't hate the Ilya idea either.
I don't hate that either. That's a good suggestion.
I really would not be surprised if he wins the Intercontinental title
at some point. Grand Slam.
Yeah, I don't think it's as important as him winning 17.
No, but fucking give it him all. It's John Cena. Like, why
I know,
not?
but
if it just makes the tiniest of sense, just do it.
I know, but I also think that it depends on who the champions are, because we know Cena is a guy that wants to put younger talent over. So he's not just going to go and be like, yeah, I want to win the Intercontinental title so I can be a Grand Slam champion, and I want to take it off Braun Breaker. He's not going to do that. And like I said, when we've talked about this before, where you gave me the choice, would I want him to be a Grand Slam champion or to have 17 title reigns? I much rather him have 17 title reigns than be a Grand Slam champion.
I still agree. I still agree with that sentiment. However, I also love my idea too.
Okay.
As long as John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Oh, you ruined.
Sorry,
Cody Rhodes fight. I'm sorry. I just for anytime I hear, like, first off, that PFC sounds like a soccer team.
I think PFC sounds better than Pure Fusion Collective. So I would much rather see that this is PFC than the whole name.
I agree. I'd rather call them PFC.
I don't like their new song because I loved Zoe's music. So I really wish that they just like kept using it. And I get it. They wanted like a music for the group. But man, Zoe's music was a banger. So that kind of bums me out.
This is what it was.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm not here to complain. When I say what are they doing with PFC, I'm not complaining about the group. I'm complaining about what they're doing as far as what they're trying to do with the group. Because
what are you trying to accomplish?
First of all, I got beef with Natalya. Because what is with her Trish Stratus cosplay?
Yeah, I was gonna. If you didn't, I was. So
that's my.
Did you see my tweet?
No, I didn't. But girl, what are you doing?
Natty Stratus.
Yeah, no.
Coming out to the ring. I'm
not into it.
Yeah, I don't know what she's going for there. Like, you trying to say that you're like the Trish Stratus of the division now because you're the oldest, the most senior member of it.
Well, and she's Canadian. I don't know.
Definitely the Canadian one is like slapping the face in front of you.
It feels beyond like paying homage. That's why I'm like, I don't really understand it. But because then it was like, it's not just the cowboy hat, it's the long jacket. No, it's like the vibe.
There's one more. No, there's one more that really put it to me like, oh, she's copying.
What?
And it was the standing hands on the knees.
Yeah.
No. She does that anyways. She's been doing for a while. That's her thing. But there was the hands on the knees, the way she was looking, like it was very Trish-esque before the coming down, or yeah.
Maybe she was watching a lot of like Trish matches when she was gone.
Which
something.
I wish she was just doing it as Natalia. I don't like that whole, mimicking the whole look and whatnot,
Yeah.
because she is a veteran in the locker room and everyone loves her. She's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But to me, this just seems like you're trying to, you're not as authentic with it. You're trying to show the fans that, which might just be a me issue then.
Mm.
But I don't
I
know.
don't know. It
I
was just
want Natty to be
confusing.
Natty.
Yeah. So anyway, so Natty's back. So that was her, her grand return last week as the secret member of the team to face off with PFC. And then they had her go against Zoe Stark this week, and they had Natty win. And that's the thing that I'm just confused. Like, what are we doing? Because they won last week. Now they won this week. What are we doing with this group? Because I get it. People aren't excited. We don't like the name. People aren't necessarily huge fans of Sonya, Shayna, and Zoe. I get it. But I do think that there was high potential for them to be like a pretty cool group because of their similarities and the way that they wrestle. It's like very different than a lot of the other girls. So I was like, all right, I think that this could be interesting. This could be fun to cheer for. But when you keep having them lose and all they do well, apparently, is beat girls up when they're not paying attention, I don't know that it's really fitting what
Just
we're trying
bullies.
to do.
It's just bully mentality.
But it's like, it's not enough for people to necessarily hate. So it's like, if you're then not going to have them even win matches, then why are people caring at all? It just kind of seems counterproductive. Like,
I thought you'd get the win. I thought you would get the win last night.
And
I
that's
was
the thing.
very confused by that.
Natty doesn't need the win. She's been around forever. Like, it's not like, oh, people are going to be like, oh, Natty sucks now. No, like, she's around for so long. Like, she's established. Exactly. So, I don't know. It's kind of disappointing because I feel, they made this effort to put these girls together, and now it just feels like, again, they're just not really putting in effort to keep it going. That's how it feels a lot of the time, I think, so far during the Triple H era, where they're trying something and it's like they put a lot of effort into it at first and then it just is gone.
It just fizzles.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, with Giovanni Vinci, that's something that I was concerned about, because I think
that didn't help. Didn't help. His debut did not help cause.
Yeah, and that's what
did, though.
It feels like that's what is happening here, is like they were really trying to make them this like bad girl group, and then it's like, all right, you know what I mean? I don't know. Then we move on to Fergie Ferg.
Listen, note, oh shit.
And sorry. He decided that he wanted to finally have a face-to-face conversation with Rhea backstage, and he was just letting that heel boy out. Okay. So they did not have a pleasant conversation because Finn, of course, was blaming Rhea and Damien, which he's not wrong. Like, if we're really looking at it, he is not wrong with what he's saying about why there was a demise of Judgment Day. It is because Rhea and Damien got a little selfish because they started winning titles and then they felt like they were better than everybody. Damien said as much when he was still in Judgment Day. So for them to act like that's not true, he literally said that they were like below him. But Rhea said that she doesn't want him to rewrite history. And I'm like, girl, you're rewriting history by acting like that didn't happen. But whatever. Short-term memory. I have to turn on my wrestling short-term memory sometimes because we're not supposed to remember these things.
No, you're not supposed to remember that much detail.
Yeah. But the best part about this is everything that we had talked about throughout the entire time that Rhea, was out, and there was these like hints of beef within Judgment Day and that it was going to inevitably lead to the breakup. We were saying, hey, Finn is involved in this stuff with Daddy Dom and Liv, and he finally said it out loud to Rhea. And I was very excited about it because I'm like, this is going to get him heat. I get that people don't really care about the Judgment Day and they want to say all this other stuff, whatever. But they really do need to do more to get people to hate them other than just beating up the Terror Twins every single week. Like, yeah, that's going to get people to boo you and it's going to get people to cheer for them, but that's so surface level. It's like basically what we were just talking about with PFC. It's like, okay, you're a bullies. Cool. You use the numbers game to beat people up. Great. But that's not enough for people to get invested in wanting to cheer against you. So Finn revealing this type of detail when all of the signs were there, but he had never admitted it. Fantastic. I loved it, and I was just happy that they finally like had him say it out loud.
Yeah, you need to start saying stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
so what you're doing in the background makes sense. So, I mean, last week I said about the car thing and whatnot. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that solidifies it. That this
Yeah.
is, I've been in his ear and all this. The hotel room key.
Mm-hmm.
People forget about the hotel key. Like, it was Finn all along,
Yeah.
and it just adds to the fire of how good he is as the bad guy in Judgment Day. It's being done very well.
I'm hoping that they'll continue to unleash that because, like I said, like people don't understand how good of a bad guy Finn can be because basically his entire time in WWE, he's been that bad, the good guy, but like
The good bad guy.
yeah, but yeah,
The
it's like the
good
good guy with an edge. You know what I mean? Because he wore leather and whatever, and he did like the demon and whatever. But he was never John Cena. You know what I mean? But so I think that yeah, they need to keep exploring this and allow him to keep doing this because I think that he has the potential to be really good, and for people to despise him. I mean, people already hate the Judgment Day.
No, they
So
hate the Judgment Day.
and that's the thing
They
is
hate
like
the
they don't realize that by saying stupid stuff like oh you know that they're like the Timu Judgment Day or whatever. I'm like, you do realize that that means that they're doing their job, right? Like
That's the
even
whole
if
point.
yeah, like
Sorry.
I hate when they say that though, just because I think it's disrespectful
It's just
to
a slap in the face. It's like
it's yeah
you don't want
it's
to be
just
told what you're doing. You know what I
it's
mean?
just disrespectful to how talented the people are that are in the new Judgment Day. But yeah, I think this could be really good, and I'm hoping that they continue to dig into the whole reason why Finn did this because you know he said that he had been planning this against Damien for a really long time, and I want them to keep exploring that because you know, people had an issue with the Liv and Rhea situation and it focusing too much on Dominic, which I get. I mean, I feel like it had to be at the beginning, and now it's getting more to focus on the women's world title. But I do think that that's an argument you can make about this feud between Damien and Finn, that it really is just about like Judgment Day versus the Terror Twins, and it's not focusing that much on what led Finn to do what he did and why he got to that point, you know? And it's like, I would really like to imagine how good a video package of that could be, you know, like to hype up their match, like Finn, just like, you know, how good that could be. It's like, I want to see that kind of stuff.
Sitting in a dark room. I want to see like dark room, a single light.
And all
like
the clips.
Him telling this. That's like the clips together, him telling the story is
and show
it
because show people why awesome. Finn feels that way. And I get it. You know, we talk about how, or I've talked about it a lot, that Triple H isn't that great or hasn't been so far at really building top level heels. And to an extent, it is kind of difficult to do that in the landscape of social media and the way that fans are too smart, you know, so they're going to cheer who they want to cheer for.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that that could be kind of a problem that they could run into in this situation with Finn, because if you show all of the examples of the things that Damien did that weren't kind or like go against what he's been trying to say he was doing, you know, essentially saying that the Judgment Day were trash without him, showing stuff like that would kind of get you to sympathize with Finn and understand why he did it. So that might not be what they want to do, but they've done that with Drew. There's a reason why people are still cheering for Drew McIntyre and over CM Punk, and it's because this whole thing is rooted in common sense, and this is kind of like it's not common sense with Finn and Damien, but it's more so of like Finn just got fed up with being treated like he was nothing, and this is why he's retaliating. But I think it could be really good if they did it the right way, you know.
Main Event Girl is loving the new Judgment Day.
So do I, girl. So do I. I'm obsessed with the Judgment Day. I loved the Judgment Day before. This is the other thing. You want to hear the most wildest thing I have seen anybody say? Somebody said the Judgment Day fell off the second Edge was booted.
That is just an incorrect sentence.
I want to ask them, what do you remember? What do you remember from Edge's Judgment Day? What do you remember from Edge's Judgment Day?
I don't remember a damn thing. I don't remember a damn thing.
Other than him sitting in a throne.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like,
I remember they still came out to the other side. They were
wearing suits.
No, they weren't even tormenting Rey Mysterio.
They were wearing suits. That was one thing.
Yeah, they wore suits. They were fucking weird. All right.
Yeah, that was wild to me. I'm like, you don't have to like Judgment
terrible.
Day. That you don't have to like Judgment Day 2.0. You don't have to. But to really act like the Judgment Day was a flop without Edge, that's wild. That's wild. Edge has even said that like he needed to move on because of like what they ended up doing was like far better than anything that they had talked about.
Exactly.
So like if you're gonna hear it from him, then doesn't that kind of hold some weight? I don't know.
I believe so, but who am I? You know.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Jey Uso. He has a bunch of pink merch. So if you are a Yeet fan and you like the pink, then there's a bunch of pink stuff. I think he does have some good merch. Not for me,
merch.
But he does
great merch.
Yeah, they've been coming a long way with some of the merch. Some of it is okay. I mean, merch in general. Other merch is like, come on, guys, really? Like, what are we doing? I'm wondering. Brady might start barking because he doesn't know I'm here.
We're gonna get a cat roaming and a dog barking.
Okay, yeah, no.
Wait, did you say your dog's about to bark and we're talking about Braun Breaker? That is wrestling.
I need to go let him know that I'm here.
Where my dog's at?
Okay,
you literally have a dog barking as Braun Breaker.
I'll be right back. I'll be right
being introduced. So while your dog barks, I'll bark myself. Woof, 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 woof. Oh, that's incredible! Don't you just love wrestling? But no, yeah. While Sarah goes handle
right here.
Braun Breaker right there.
I'm right here. Okay.
She's right there.
He can't hear me because he's old and he doesn't have good hearing. So even though I'm just
he heard Braun Breaker.
No, he doesn't like to be alone. So he thought he was alone. But he's not. So he can see me now. Anyway, okay. So Jey Uso comes out after talking to Mommy. And just as hyping up his match that we now know will be next week on Raw, the Intercontinental title will be defended by Braun Breaker, which I think that's the move. I mean, I think we kind of hinted at that. We thought that was what was going to happen, that it wasn't going to be a Bad Blood. Brady, stop! I'm right here, dude. Oh my God, can you hear him?
Yeah, we're good. Let it ride.
I might we'll see because he can bark loud. Anyway, and he gets interrupted by Braun Breaker, so they kind of just have an exchange of words back and forth, because they have family ties to WWE, obviously. And so Braun hits him like, hey, I didn't even have to use who my dad is, who my uncle is. I didn't have to do any of that to get to where I am, unlike you. And then Jay comes back with a more serious tone, which I am thankful for because, brother, I cannot handle another yeet filled promo from him. I can't do it. I just can't.
It was pretty. I thought it was a good promo.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, obviously.
No, I thought it was one of his better. A good Jey Uso one where it could show that he is an actual serious person.
And that's the thing is like I'm glad that this is happening because I was going to, I'm like, all right, if he's going to feud with Braun Breaker, he needs to have more serious tone to him. It can't just be what he's been doing. Like, yeah, that's great when you're trying to hype up the crowd and like get people excited and blah blah blah, but that's not going to work when you want people to take you seriously in a feud, especially for a singles title that you've never won. No, we can't be hearing yeet yeet and doing all this and like pandering to the crowd. You can't do that. So I thought that was good, and of course he hit him where it hurts a little bit, which I still think was like low-hanging fruit, but people were really in love with the whole line about his, you know, short football career or whatever. And
that's
I'm like,
just an easy no.
That's what I'm saying. It's low hanging fruit.
You see, but okay, you're right. It is low hanging fruit, and it to me when the crowds over ooh and ah at that type of comment.
Yeah,
It's like as two people in this yard of streams that are very familiar with the NFL and football and professional sports, like it's just not that bad of a dig, you know? Like,
well, especially when you consider how many other ex NFL players are in the WWE. Isn't Roman one too? Like,
Roman's one, Brock was one,
Baron Corbin,
Gunther's favorite wrestler was one.
Yeah, and I know. See, like that was more of like that could be kind of considered low hanging fruit against Bret Hart, but who the hell is going to say that to Bret Hart? You know what I mean? So like you kind of give that credit a little bit more to Gunther than you would say to like Jey Uso doing this, but it definitely worked, obviously, because Braun came out and attacked him at the end of the show during the main event.
That spear was fucking incredible.
That's what's amazing to me, right? So we've talked about how Jey Uso is not the greatest in-ring performer, that he kind of is a guy that has 3 moves of doom, and that's fine because plenty of people make a lot of money doing that, and John Cena is one of my favorites, and that's a moniker that was given to him a long time ago. But when he speared Braun, I wanted to be like, bro, we cannot act like your spear is better than Braun Breaker's spear. Okay.
I liked how he came back. I was like, okay, Jey Uso is not messing around. I like that part of it. Like, okay, he's using his spear.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm like, maybe you shouldn't use your spear when you're going against a guy with a better one. But
you got it. It's the battle of the spears. We'll see what happens.
It's gonna be. So I'm excited about the match. I mean, I think that Breaker is gonna win. I don't think there's any chance that Jey wins, but I think it still could be a good match. I'm hopeful that it's a good match because I was a little bit nervous about it because there's such an age gap and such a difference in wrestling style. But at least now I feel like I'm a little bit more invested in it storyline wise than just being like, oh, Jey won a tournament to be the #1 contender. Like there's actual heat there. So it's a little bit more interesting to buy into.
Just a little bit. I agree. Just a little bit.
Yes. And then we move on to for people to shut up about the Judgment Day never defending their titles.
I loved it.
We get a JD McDonough and Mr. Fergie Ferg. They successfully defend their titles against the New Day, which I didn't think was 100%. I honestly was already prepared for them to lose. Like I
wanted it so bad. I wanted New Day to win so bad.
I was going to be really disappointed about it because I just hate when it's like wrestlers are kind of punished for bad booking, because that's what I would say this is, like people complaining about the Judgment Day never defending the titles as if it has anything to do with them, you know, like it's not their choice at all. No. But I liked how this ended up because you kind of thought once Odyssey Jones was fired that meant, okay, whatever the plans were for the New Day, that it wasn't going to happen. And they kind of were going about it that way, like in the weeks after they took Odyssey off TV and then eventually fired him. Everything seemed chummy between Xavier and Kofi. So you're like, okay, we're going to go in this direction again. Nope. It only took a little bit longer than we thought. And because of Kofi getting involved with the Judgment Day coming out, which then was preceded by LWO coming out to help the New Day, Kofi getting involved messed up the match for Woods, who had the pin on JD McDonough. My poor JD. Poor JD. Why is he always got to be the one? He's the Giovanni Vinci of Judgment Day. And this led to Xavier taking out his anger on Kofi, giving him a couple shoves and yelling at him, which then continued in the back, and Kofi admitted that they needed a little bit of muscle because now that they don't have Big E in their corner, they need some extra help.
No, that hit.
Woods took that personally because he was like, all right, we're not good enough. I'm not good enough. You don't even tell me about this plan, blah, blah, blah. So it's definitely setting it up for something to happen. But as somebody said in the chat earlier, you kind of, the most interesting part about this whole thing, I would say, is it's not 100% clear who is turning heel, which I like, because at first, with all the Odyssey Jones stuff, most people thought it was going to be Xavier. I made an argument that it could have been Kofi and Odyssey because you wouldn't be seeing it. But I still think that that's a possibility. You could still see it being Kofi because he's been doing this sneaky stuff and not telling Xavier, which that would be more frowned upon, right? Than like Xavier reacting to it. But then of course his reactions, people would say, are not justified and blah, blah, blah. So it's easy to paint him as the bad guy. But I think it's interesting that it's not obvious yet. It makes it a little bit more fun to look forward to, I feel.
I am leaning more on the Woods side of turning after the tantrum post-match, blowing up on the LWO. You know, it's part of the upgraded production where you go to Kathy Kelly, trying to get away with Kofi, and you overhear Xavier Woods screaming at the LWO for getting involved in the match, finding out there's no cutscene or whatever to find out. Like, you transition well, them finding out that Kofi arranged the whole thing, like, and especially before all that happened, Woods went to Rhea, Damian, and Jey Uso. I mean, Jey Uso, and said, "Don't get involved." You know, like, I got on my own. Like, if you know their games better than anyone, just please, this is our business. And they're like, "Yeah, man, we got you. You know, we're not going to get involved in the match. Anything, whatever." That's what I like about the whole thing, is that Woods is thinking like a thing, like he's on his own at this point, like where Kofi is trying to still bring back the glory days of the three of them, maybe because he doesn't believe Woods can do it. I love it. It's the almost underrated little stories going on Raw.
Richard says Kofi being the heel could be a fun twist. I feel like might have the ability to be a better heel, but I don't know. Something we've never seen, something we never thought we would see either, if we're being honest. I never thought. I mean, at this point, he's been like a babyface his entire career, except for the couple weeks that the New Day were supposed to be bad.
That's fugazi. That was experimental period.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, outside of that, it's like, otherwise, you know, he was Jamaican and he was a good guy for that time. So, and then of course the New Day.
I got a question. What happened to your accent? Aren't you supposed to be Jamaican?
It's so messed up. But anyway, yeah, I think that it could be super interesting, no matter what. So
fans won't boo Kofi.
Oh yeah,
will. But you think they'll they would boo the shit out of Xavier Woods? No,
I don't know. I feel like people like them both.
I'm on his side. I'm on his side.
I think fans will boo Kofi, but I don't know. That's why I said it might change, because I wouldn't be surprised if the original plan was to have Odyssey and Kofi turn. I wouldn't be surprised, because I think it would be easier for people to do that. Maybe it would be easier for fans to boo them as opposed to booing Kofi on his own. This could be a situation where, people think Kofi is justified, and that's why it's hard for people to boo him. I don't know. But it's also hard, I think, for people to imagine either of these guys being bad guys, because for the most part, in their minds, neither of them have ever been bad. So it's kind of hard to envision, like, who would it be and why would they be bad and why should I boo them? Like, there's still a lot of storyline to fill for anyone to make up their mind. You
could, okay, this is a long shot of my thought, but do you think this could build until WrestleMania? Like, do you think we could, because the seeds have been planted, at least in the foundation. to the point where we don't know where we are in this, but we know it's happening. If they could build this up to a WrestleMania match, it has the potential to be a lot better than brother versus brother.
I mean, maybe. I think it just depends on how they go about it, because like Big E technically could get involved if he doesn't get into the ring.
And then he's a special ref. I was gonna say
but
special ref. You could do ref.
Yeah, I don't know. So I would have to see because it's like hard.
hit.
Like it's interesting-ish now, but I don't know if I could say in like 3 months that I would still be like, oh my god, what is happening with Kofi and Xavier?
I think they could.
I don't know.
I've been bought in since Karrion Kross entered the chat. And there's video proof of that. I have been interested since Karrion Kross.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Look at him just floating away.
Yeah,
just floating away.
All right.
Fish. Did you see that?
Then we move on to Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman, which basically didn't really happen, but I would say it was still another meaty masterpiece.
No, it was awesome.
Argue with the wall if you don't agree, because I don't care. I don't need to see these guys in a ring. I just want to see them beat each other up, and that is what happened. Okay. And for the most part, I just want to see Bronson Reed, if we're being honest. I don't really Braun Strowman, oh my god, earlier in the night when Miz was talking to him and Miz was like, oh, I heard you were like, talking bad about me and whatever. He was like, no, you're the Miz. And it's like, what?
Okay.
What? What?
No, I love this because
hold on, you didn't even listen to what I said.
I'm sorry.
I said I was laughing at Braun Strowman because earlier in the night he's talking to the Miz and Miz is like, hey, I heard you were like saying things about me or like I'm not worthy of this or blah blah blah. And he's like, what? I would never say that. You're the Miz. And I'm like, that's a diss right there. Like to me, it's like you're the Miz. Like, do you not see how ridiculous that sounds? Like, but whatever.
No, I took that pretty.
What was the ponytail?
Bronson Reed's ponytail,
no.
Or Braun Strowman's ponytail.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. He said weirder looks before. Do you remember his old G.I. Joe Kim Possible morph?
Let's just
around the Thunderdome.
Anyway, so Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. As I said, it did not get into an actual match. All they did was beat each other up around the ring, in the back, in the parking lot, everything. And you know what? I don't care if this is what they do every week. I don't. I am thoroughly entertained. And it does feel like this is a feud that it's pure hatred for each other. And it doesn't feel like this is something that could be settled in a match anyway. So maybe like in a traditional match. I'm sorry.
There it is. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be like a street fight or something or whatever. Right. And it's funny because we don't really know where the root of this hatred is. It's just there.
It's just two meaty men who hate each other.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The funny thing about this whole thing is after last night, which well done to the whole match. But I was trying to think of where to go with this. How do you say enough? Like, how do you put an end where you get a match with an official winner and all that, jazz. So I was like, the gut reaction was just all right, just throw him in a steel cage. But it's like they'll annihilate the cage. Like they'll just break the walls down.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right, Jericho.
I was waiting for someone to comment on that. I don't know where they would go with this, except just a free-for-all match. Maybe like a last man standing.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome. Because just like that would be so cool.
And I think people would be into it too. Like you don't really have to have that much of a care for Braun or Bronson, but like you want to see this match. You know what I mean? Like that you're entertained every week with them beating each other up. So like then them getting a free pass to keep doing it, but then there actually is a winner declared. I'm into it. I think a lot of people would be.
And they don't need to do the stereotypical, because it's a last man standing match, make it as gruesome as possible.
Yeah.
Like gruesome. There's a difference, peeps. What they did last night, but just extend it. Go everywhere. Like just have them
boiler
bowling
room
balls.
Iron Man match.
Yeah, like the like a bowl in a china shop. Just that's what they are. That's what the last man standing match should be. Like Peter and the chicken. They should be the running Peter and the chicken fight.
Okay.
You don't get that reference.
No, I
right?
do. It's from Family Guy.
Good. Okay, I thought you didn't. I was
yeah. Then we move on to Sami Zayn, who rudely interrupts Ludwig Kaiser as he is in the back being interviewed. And Sami comes out to continue to try to manipulate Gunther into giving him a World Heavyweight title match. But then he continues that manipulation when he is then reversed and interrupted by Kaiser, who comes out there and says, like, you're not worthy of a match against Gunther. Like, why do you keep doing this? He's already told you no. And Sami is like, why do you even need Gunther? You're really good. This is why you've been doing all this, like turning on your brother, blah, 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 blah. And Gunther then comes out and is like, oh, do you have something to say? Kaiser makes it seem like he was about to be like, oh, I want to be on my own. I don't need you. But no, he turns on, obviously, to beat up Sami. And Gunther lets him know again, hey, bro, you ain't getting that match. And I know this is probably not a popular answer, but I love that Gunther is doing this. I love it when champions do this to their opponents, because it's so much more entertaining in my eyes when a champion doesn't just immediately agree to a match with somebody, especially when they're not the number one contender. Like, they can't say no to somebody who just won a number one contender tournament. You know what I mean? Like, you agree to a tournament to find your next opponent. Mm-hmm. You're not going to say no to them. But Sami basically just came out and is like, hey, I would like to have a World Heavyweight title match, even though I've been gone getting stem cells. Can I have a match? And Gunther is like, no. You know, like, I love that they keep doing it because it makes the babyface look psycho, that they're like so obsessed with it. You know, like, who did we see this with not that long ago? Why can't I remember? I don't know, maybe someone in the chat can remind me, but there was another one that was like, I was into it, where the champion just kept being like, no, I'm not giving you a match. Not right now. I don't want to. So I love it. I personally love it. I mean, obviously it's going to happen eventually, but I love that
it was Gunther versus Chad Gable. That's when he did it. He did it against Chad Gable, I'm pretty sure.
So, well, and he's not the only one in history of wrestling to do it, but
even he did it against Gable. Like, that's interesting.
So I personally, I don't know. I'm into it. I love it.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not, you know, I like Sami Zayn. And so I'm not, that's not what this is about. I'm not like super into this match. I really do feel like Sami was
quick. It just happened too quick.
Well, it's not just that. I really think that the only reason why they chose for Sami to be the next opponent is because because the biggest complaint that people had with him facing off against Randy was that they knew that Randy wasn't going to win. And I think that giving him Sami makes people feel like, oh, Sami could win because he's the only one who has beaten Gunther. I feel like they're just trying to appease those people. And I get it, you know, but I at the same time, I feel like these people who are saying this about Gunther were not saying it about Roman Reigns in every single match and title defense that he had. Like, were you complaining when he was facing off with these people and you already knew beforehand that he wasn't going to lose? You're complaining about it after he's had the title, 2 months, and you're already complaining about it. So that feels like that's the whole point of Sami. But I they'll have a good match, but Gunther has to retain, obviously. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about it?
No. Okay. No, I loved it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I am obsessed with Gunther. Yeah, it's fine. It can happen. I don't care.
It's not now. I'm just bored with it right now.
Yeah, it needs to just happen and then be over. You know.
Like, I get it, it's wrestling, but like, I want to see something new.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip. I don't have a whole lot to say about this. Honestly.
Great match. I don't either. I really have nothing else to say except I love the match, and it was a great way for Joe Tessitore to really show the wrestling universe that he is all in
The
on the
thing that's
product.
wild is like now people are finally giving him credit, and I get it. You don't want to say
Yeah, three
you don't want to
weeks.
you don't want to come to a conclusion after 1 week, but there were people who were writing him off after his first episode, and we were
Well,
like, all
those
right,
people
guys,
are
you need to calm down, give him time. And I love how it literally
ridiculous.
took 2-3 weeks for people to finally be like, oh, okay, I think this guy is good. It's like, well, okay, that's kind of
Much
how it
effort.
should always be. You know what I mean? Like, no one is going to be great. I mean, they did the same thing with Tom Brady, if we're being honest. People were saying he sucked in his first week as a commentator. And I'm like, guys, this is brand new to him. And
'Cause he
his
was
brain functions so differently than a normal commentator because he played in the NFL for 21, 22 years. Like, he's seeing things from the perspective of a quarterback who just retired, and he has to
and he's
then
getting
try
a
and
better view.
translate what he's seeing, and he talked about this, translate what he's seeing into like layman's terms, because he can't be like, oh, this guy just did this and this and this, and people are gonna be like, what the hell is he talking about? Because it's football lingo, we don't know what that means.
Nosferatu talking about.
Yeah, so anyway, I think it was like, all right, welcome aboard. Joe Tessitore, of course, was going to be great. What I guess the only thing that I think other than this was a great match, obviously Bianca is incredible, Io is incredible. And it was great to see Io beat Bianca. I'm just confused about what they're trying to do with damage control, because it feels like 1 week they're like, oh, they're baby faces, the next week they're heels, and it's like, if they're tweeners, that's fine, but like, I'm confused. I don't really know what they're trying.
No, I
don't know
love
what they're
it.
trying to do, but
They're just
I mean, I don't
damage
care.
controls.
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
damage control. That's what they are, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. So I'm glad to see them wrestle. So it's like I don't care what they're doing. All right, and then we get to the main event, which was Damian Priest versus Daddy Dom, and of course it ends in the typical Judgment Day chaos, which I think we needed anyway.
Beat the shit out of them. Oh my god.
Huh?
No help. They just beat the shit out of him.
Did I spell his name wrong? Why did I spell his name like that?
Oh, that's you've been seeing it. You've been seeing it through me for too long.
It's an A, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how did I do that?
You've been seeing my version too much.
Yeah, I don't know how did I do that? No, I didn't catch it. I don't know. Anyway, so, I mean, I think it was pretty cool that this was the main event. I think, people are complaining because the Judgment Day is basically the main event every single week of Raw. Not even the main event. It's like they're the feature every single week. But
they are the A story.
Yeah, but
they're the A story.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good match. I didn't love every aspect of it. Obviously, I don't like it when the Judgment Day looked bad, but they stood tall at the end. I'm kind of interested to see where they go for like the next week or two, 2 weeks until Bad Blood, just because I feel like we're getting to that point where they've already done everything that they could do in between time. So we kind of just need to get to those matches with Rhea and Liv. And I want to see more from Finn and Damian, which I spoke about earlier. I want to see more of that because I feel like that's kind of being put on the back burner. And people are kind of forgetting that they're having a match because there's been so much focus on Dom and Liv and Rhea and Damian that we're kind of forgetting, hey, Finn's over here. Like, Finn is in this match. Otherwise, yeah, I just want to see what they do at Bad Blood. But did you think that they were going to add a stipulation to the women's match? Because you kind of seemed like you were hinting at that.
So because I saw that and I didn't think they were going to this week. I didn't think they were going to this week because it is 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
There's still time. And you still need to have Liv reign supreme. Like, you don't want there to, like, if you're Liv, you don't want there to be a stipulation. So for her to beat her down, all that, like, the stipulation is that she is one-legged, essentially. So you have that where now you bring a stipulation in. It's to bring up and really build up the brutality of this feud and the hatred these two have for each other. Do it at the last possible second because this match is going to sell regardless. The stipulation is really just an announcement before the bell rings. That's really all
I do think that they have to be careful though, because I mean, you could also say Rhea doesn't want a stipulation, because if you do something that says there's no disqualification, okay, then you know all of Judgment Day are going to come out and try to help Liv, and they're going to beat you by the numbers game, because even if you have
But then
Damien come out, even
Damien
if you have
and
Jay come out, it's not going to help. So to me, it's like it would have to be something where they literally cannot get involved,
Raquel
which is a Hell in a
Rodriguez.
Cell or a cage match where they have to try and prevent them from getting involved. That to me is the only thing that would make sense, because otherwise you're just opening the door for the typical Judgment Day chaos. You know what I mean? And I don't
Mm,
know. I don't think that whatever happens at Bad Blood, which I hope is Liv retaining, whatever happens, I don't think that that's the end of this. Like, it might be a pause for now, and then they move on to something else, and I think
mhm,
it's time to do that. And I think that having the typical ending of the Judgment Day getting involved and helping Liv, that doesn't end it. That's not a solid enough end, and that doesn't make Liv look like a legitimate champion, because there are so many people who still say she shouldn't be champion, she's a joke, she can't wrestle, she can't do this, blah 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 blah. She needs to have like a solid win, and hopefully without the help of anyone, which she's done before when she's beaten Rhea. So I don't think
yeah,
that should be the case now, but I think that's the only way that this could at least end for the moment, you know.
yeah. You need to have a stipulation where it leaves something for the future, but it ends it for the time being. Maybe a Raquel Rodriguez coming back. I don't know what
Yeah,
side though.
no,
Maybe
she has to
just
come back for Liv, to be
yeah,
with Liv.
yeah, to be
But the
with Liv.
problem is she can't get involved in helping Liv retain, because that doesn't help the situation either. It would then just move Rhea's focus to Raquel, but for how long? And then what is Liv doing? Is she not defending the title in the meantime against anybody else? Like, it just, I don't know. I don't know how they go about it to make sense for everybody.
I don't get it. I'm very intrigued on how it's gonna go.
Because what if it's like, I mean, I don't think that they'll do it, but it would be really interesting, because they don't do it with the women ever. That if Liv retains, that Rhea can't challenge her again as long as she's champion. I would love for that to happen with the women, because that never happens with the women. They do it with the men if they ever do it. But I do think that's interesting. But then, I mean, I don't know, maybe she wins the Royal Rumble and that's the way that she gets around it, you know.
I yeah. I don't know really yet.
I don't know. But anyway, are there any comments that we want to get to before we?
Um let me go here. A lot of just conversation really so far. Um Bring back the Falls Count Anywhere for Bronson and Braun.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
I don't mind that. I think
Yeah.
that yeah, like a Falls Count Anywhere.
Well,
No, like
and it.
Boiler Room Brawl would be sick if you want to throw it back to 1998.
I
But
mean, they're definitely. You can tell that Triple H is definitely more interested in bringing back things. I mean, they're bringing back um the Sunday night main event. Sunday night, or is it Saturday night?
Saturday night main
Saturday
event.
night, and they're the. Is it true that Jesse Ventura is going to be on commentary?
Hell yeah. I'm so
So it's
hyped for
like,
that.
so this is what I mean. Like, I mean, we're bringing back Bad Blood. We've seen in NXT, they brought back No Mercy and Halloween Havoc and all this stuff. So it's like, I think that we're going to start to see more stuff that maybe was more common at the peak of Triple H, in the Attitude Era and whatever, and kind of coming back to modern wrestling, but in a different way, obviously, because you don't want to make it seem like you're just trying to replicate your own career. Um,
Exactly.
but I wouldn't be surprised if we see stuff like that. They're definitely bringing stuff back that people want to see, and I feel like that is a match that makes sense, because then it does allow them to go and do whatever. There are no disqualifications, and it's not limited to the ring, But so I would love to see that.
I would love to see anything that does not finish in the ring. Trying to look for more. Okay, unhinged main event bro is on my side about New Day at Mania. I don't know how it's gonna happen,
I
but we'll make it happen.
I'm not against it
All right.
happening at Mania. I just said I wasn't sure if it would be something that they could
No, yeah.
successfully prolong till Mania. That's all.
Mr. Anderson, please keep it in your pants, please. And y'all know Natty. Yeah, to be honest, I'm for it. Like that's a good feud for Liv to have after she deals with Rhea because Natty is the locker room vet. You know, I would say the women's locker room leader from an outside perspective. And also the most, over baby face in the terms of the term. Having her go up against Liv to try to knock some sense into her, while in the meantime they have very good matches because Natalia does no ball. She's fucking hard, for God's sakes. Hearts in championship matches, put on unbelievable performances. So like I would rather see something like this actually over something than over like a Raquel.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see Raquel on her side, so I definitely wouldn't want to see her versus
Okay.
Raquel because it just feels like moving it from one Rhea Ripley to another. You know what I mean? Like,
I quit match for Rhea and Liv would be good.
mm-hmm.
I love I quit matches. And yeah, that's all we got.
Alrighty.
Oh my god, that was Raw. Thank you guys for tuning into this edition of the Raw Rewind. Make sure you subscribe, hit that button below, bell notification to know every time we go live and when new videos are posted. And then go follow the links to all our other social medias in the description below. I am going to give Teddy Long a nice piece of my mind and try to book a pay-per-view, my own Bad Blood. And until Thursday, we'll see you next time. Friday this week.
Patriots play on Thursday, so
That's right. The Pats play on Thursday this week.
yeah, so I cannot stream on Thursday.
So it will be Friday this week. Thank you for letting me know. We maybe I'll stream. We'll do something. All right. So Friday, we will see you. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember, you can do it. All you got to do is try. Woo.